it doesn't matter how many times he tries to talk about it. It doesn't matter how many times, his co-stars come out and defend him. Chris Pratt will constantly be on the chopping block. The woke cancel culture lunatics, they want this dude gone. They want him dead in the streets. It doesn't matter if he's talking about his faith, about how he responds with his family, anything. Chris Pratt is one of the biggest targets for the woke lunatics out there because he's white, he's straight, he's Christian, and they think he's a conservative, even though he really doesn't get into any kind of political talking points. So Chris Pratt, again, in the Guardians of the Galaxy media roundup, was asked specifically about a lot of the backlash that he has with his faith, and he once again stood tall and stood alone when you look at the rest of the people in woke Hollywood. And he says, you know what? I can't let it bother me too much. 2,000 years ago, they hated a dude named Jesus too. Now, of course, what did the mainstream media do? They pounced on that, said Chris Pratt compares himself to Jesus.
God.
Not exactly. Chris Pratt talks leaning on Jesus when critics attack his faith. 2,000 years ago, they hated him too. So he says that he leans on Christ's example when he's under attack. I sure do, but that's nothing new, He used scripture to underline his beliefs, saying, if I was of this world, they would love me just like that. But as it is, I've chosen out of this world. That's John 15:18 through 20. That's the way it is. Nothing new. 2,000 years ago, they hated him too. And then this is what I love from him. The Hollywood A-lister revealed the trick to deal with the hate is just how you deal with anything. Like a rhino, stick your head down, keep driving forward. You have thick skin, and if anyone gets in your way, you stick the horn right up their ass.
Yes.
And this is, I don't think there is anybody that's quite as attacked as Chris Pratt is in Hollywood and still continues to be as successful as he is.
Yeah.
Whether it's Marvel, whether it's Jurassic World, whether it's the Super Mario Brothers
the two
movie.
number one and number two movies in the world right now.
That's true. Right, so did Jonathan Majors earlier this year.
Yeah, but he wasn't the star.
That's
he wasn't
true.
the star. Chris Pratt is the star of both of these films, and he is crushing it. Go ahead, there, Ryan.
Yeah, and it just like this is how you handle it. Chris Pratt likely has some conservative viewpoints, even though he really doesn't talk about it too much. He's very open about his faith, very open about being a Christian. He gets attacked for that constantly, whether it's death threats, whether it's people wishing death upon him and his family. It's disgusting. It's evil. But he continues to be successful through the whole thing, despite not being part of the woke Hollywood echo chamber, just by not bending the knee to these freaks.
It is shocking that he continues to stay as successful as he is, even though he is consistently attacked. I mean, to me, he is probably the definitive movie star of our time, and there's not many, if any, anymore. Obviously, you have the old guard, like, your Tom Cruises and things like that, Denzel Washington's, but like there's not many people like in the current kind of run of, is there anybody really that's on Pratt's level? Like Henry Cavill's not, even though we all love Henry Cavill, he doesn't pull like Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt actually pulls massive box office numbers, when he's attached to a film. Cavill doesn't have that level of pull. Chris Pratt does. I don't think there's anybody else that has that, what Chris Pratt has. He's the movie star. He's about the only movie star we have right now that wasn't from the old kind of 80s, 90s guard.